Hey everyone, it's Lexie. So in today's video I'll be sharing a few of my fall reading recommendations. So fall and winter I think are my favorite times to read throughout the year. I think because you just have that good atmosphere outside that really sets the mood for kind of getting lost in the book. So I'm really excited to share these suggestions with you. They're kind of all over in terms of genre, but I feel like I found like the books that I chose are very atmospheric. They either kind of have like a fall setting of being dark, wet, cold, or they just have really good stories that you can just lose yourself in. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. So starting out, I first have the Inspector Gamache series by Louise Penny. I know I've convinced many of you to kind of start up with this series, which I'm so excited about because I want to like share the amazingness of this series with you guys. So you guys are probably sick of me talking about it, but these books each kind of take place in different seasons. So like I think this one is like winter, I want to say. No, Thanksgiving. So Canadian Thanksgiving's in October. So I was like, this is perfect. I got it smack dab in the middle of fall, so that is good. But yeah, this is a Canadian crime series that takes place in Montreal, and we follow Inspector Gamache, who is head of the homicide department in Quebec, and he ends up kind of solving murders that involve a small town of Three Pines. But the feeling that I get with the town of Three Pines is very similar to kind of Stars Hollow, which I think is also kind of like a very autumnal feeling town. So that's why I kind of associate the series with fall. But yeah, this one takes place in October, so I got that right. But yeah, if you're looking for a really good crime series to start, this one is honestly spectacular. I've marathoned books like 3 through 16 throughout the pandemic so far, so it just gets better and better. And I do have a video completely dedicated to why I love this series, so if you are interested in learning more and if this is like a series you want to go and check out, go check out that video because I kind of go more into depth with those things. So this is a series that is eerily similar to what's kind of going on now, and it's very much outside of my comfort zone, but I love this series so much. And it is the Chronicles of One Trilogy by Nora Roberts, the first book being Year One, and this takes place in our world where there is this virus that goes around killing 2/3 of the world's population in a matter of weeks, and those who are immune to this virus have some sort of magical ability to them. So you can see how that can kind of lead to kind of anarchy between like the humans and the ones that have some magical blood in them. And this one very much is like setting up kind of this world, and there is kind of a lot of light versus dark magic imagery in here and all that stuff. Like I said, this is very much outside of my comfort zone. Like this wouldn't have been a book that I would have picked up for myself, but I was given this for my birthday and right before the pandemic, and which was good timing. But yeah, I loved it. It's a lot of fun, and the second book is definitely my favorite, but that kind of feel of like not like post-apocalyptic, but kind of like that feeling of the world in chaos. I feel like just has fall vibes, kind of trying to, rummage through the forest and, rebuild life from the ground up, I think is really interesting. And yeah, this one is a lot of fun. I feel like this is a good one to read around Halloween in particular. So yeah, if you're looking for something, to step outside your comfort zone with, I think this is a great trilogy to start with. So this one I think is just very autumnal in like feel in the atmosphere of this book, and it is The Forgotten Garden by Kate Morton. And this is a dual storyline, so we follow a girl who is kind of abandoned on a ship from England to Australia, and she ends up getting adopted into this family, but she never really knew she was adopted, like what happened to her, until she was in her late teens. And then so when she gets she kind of like her granddaughter finds out about this, and there's this mysterious fairy tale book that her grandmother had that they found after she passed away, and she's very curious to figure out who her grandmother was, where she came from, why she was abandoned and sent on a ship from England to Australia. And so that is the present day storyline. And then we follow another girl who is growing up in the kind of early 1910s, who is kind of forced to kind of work at this kind of old manor, and it kind of goes off from there. And there's kind of like, you get the integration between the past and present storyline as Cassandra, the grandmother's granddaughter, is kind of searching through the history, and you kind of learn more with the characters. But this one has a total, you know, fall feel, like of wet, cold, damp weather, and I think this one is totally fun. I don't think I did a really good description of this because I tried to feel like, I feel for this one it's best kind of to just jump into it not knowing too much about it. And so yeah, but like, just look at all this, like this is like a fall, you know, cover as well, and like all this stuff. So yeah, this book is honestly spectacular. Next up, I have The Huntress by Kate Quinn, and this is just gives off like total autumnal feels, just even with like this dark cover as well. But it follows this girl who her father is remarrying, and there's something off about this, you know, woman his father is going to marry. There's something wrong about her, and she's not sure what is going on. And then we have two different storylines. We have this reporter who is trying to find the Huntress, and he ends up joining forces with this woman who served in like the Russian Air Force, like the women's like Air Force, and she has a vendetta against the Huntress, who is this very notorious Nazi who killed a lot of people and got away with it at the end of the war. Like, she's been missing, and they're trying to find out who she is, and it kind of involves the different, you know, storylines and the events of like why these characters want to bring this person to justice and get her, you know, held responsible for her actions. We get kind of the flashback events of what eventually led to this, in addition to the present day narratives of them trying to find her, and this girl who has this mother, like stepmother, who there's something off about her. And this one's a lot of fun. I think it's interesting because it is told from so many different perspectives throughout the war, that it's interesting to see how all these characters eventually come together to, you know, in the end. And the ending in here was just so good. It was amazing. I loved it. So again, I'm trying to be vague with this one because I feel like it's, again, one where you just need to dive into it. But yeah, nevertheless, this is a very unique historical fiction, but I think it's really well done with the different narratives, so it doesn't feel like you're stop and go with the overarching like narrative of the different characters. Like, the book flows very well when it's told from the different points of view. And lastly, I have The Great Alone by Chris and Hannah. This book just kind of has a fall cover for me, so hence why I picked it, but it has a very good storyline as well. It follows this girl whose father has come back from Vietnam War, and he is dealing with a lot of PTSD, and he decides that he's gonna solve all his issues and his family's problem if they, you know, pick up their life and move to Alaska. So it follows her story of kind of growing up in Alaska in a environment where her father is, you know, abusing his mom, so trigger warnings for domestic violence. But it kind of, what's interesting is that the Alaskan wilderness is a kind of character of its own, and I think the integration of, you know, again, the kind of nature side of Alaska and how brutal it is there, I thought was really interesting and very good analogy compared to what she's kind of living in with her parents in a house that has domestic violence in it. And it kind of goes up from there. You can kind of read more into the synopsis if you want to. Again, I think for this one it's kind of just to kind of experience it as it is, but I think this is very interesting, very well done. It does tackle a lot of difficult subject matter, but I feel like it does it in a very respectful way. And so again, there is that trigger warning, but it is very well written. And again, that setting of like the Alaskan wilderness, and there's just being like all these dangers around you, I think is very interesting, and kind of gives off the kind of fall days where the days are getting, you know, darker and all those things. So yeah, this book is honestly so good. So that's it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below what some of your fall reading recommendations are and all of that fun stuff. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.